that 8K demo was pretty impressive. If you guys have ever seen a 4K television set before, just imagine that on a much larger scale. The first thing that we actually noticed was how crisp and sharp that JVC was. First thing I noticed when they're playing that Peru demo, that demo scene there, it looked like a television set, like a giant TV. It was very crisp, super crispy looking. If you guys can get a chance to check out that projector, or just any 4K projector in general, but that one in particular looked exceptionally good. I want to say a little bit sharper than my Sony, which, you know, it should be because it's like $8,000 more than my Sony. But that's definitely the first thing I noticed, how crisp and clean it was. Could I even tell the difference between 8K? Well, here's the thing with the JVC is a 8K E-shift projector. So it's not, obviously it's not natively an 8K source that you're watching. What it would do if you have a larger screen size, like say like a 200-inch, maybe if you're pushing like 250 maybe, and then you're going to turn on E-shift. That's when the E-shift is going to really make a big difference. When you're going to larger screen size than your typical 100-inch or 92-inch, when you get into those huge sizes, that's when the E-shift is really going to make a difference. And anybody that's had a JVC projector with E-shift, 4K E-shift, when I had mine, it would always make this this whine sound. It's kind of like a humming sound every time E-shift was on. It was less noticeable on the newer version, on the 8K E-shift. I could hear it a little bit, and even when they're playing like the actual demo music from the demos and just people talking, I could hear a little bit. It would probably still drive me buggy. If I had that projector, I probably wouldn't use the 8K E-shift just because I would be able to hear that. But it wasn't so it wasn't as noticeable as the other 4K ones that I've heard and that I've had or that I've owned. But yeah, I think maybe like on my size screen, the 8K E-shift at 120, 126, I probably wouldn't use it. Yeah, I'd probably just bounce back and forth. Maybe if I was watching maybe like a Blu-ray or something like that, then I would probably turn it on. But native 4K disc, I don't think I'd probably use it. So no, I really couldn't. We couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't tell the difference. Elias couldn't tell the difference. Are 4K movies worth buying, Mr. 4K today? Yeah, I think they're worth buying. 4K movies weren't worth buying, I wouldn't buy them, or I wouldn't have started this channel. Part of the reason why I started the channel was to talk about 4K movies. There wasn't too many people doing it, and those that were doing it, I think there's only one. You know, Mr. Bros Talks, but he's no longer with us anymore. But yeah, totally think it's worth it. Any thoughts on Samsung Micro LED Modular TV? We're actually talking about that over the weekend as well at this show. The only thing with the micro LEDs that we're thinking about, like what I thought about, was that, like, let's say you're building a TV that's like 100 inches or more, and they come in those little squared sections. Who's to say that those LED lights are going to age, you know, or just like they're going to age perfectly altogether? Or let's say if you have a micro LED set where you're piecing it together, and then maybe something goes bad, you have to buy another little module, stick it in there. Is that new module going to be brighter than the other 5 or 6 or 12? Or are you going to have one bright spot? Or can you tone it down to match the luminance, the luminosity emitting from it? Like, how's that going to work? That's one thing we're discussing over the weekend as well. Like, how are those LEDs going to age? That's the only thing that we could think of. Other than that, I mean, the concept is good. The Raf Cave in the house. Can't wait to see Samsung 8K TV soon. Actually, now that you bring up the 8K TV, I saw the 8K TV over the weekend as well. He's got that TV at his shop there. And I think it was like a major consensus that all of us that were there, the 8K Samsung was sitting next to the new C9, which was on the wall. And the C9 was noticeably brighter than the 8K set. for some reason the 8K set, even though I think it's touted at being at 4,000 nits, it was kind of dim. I mean, they were both on their movie modes. We did put the Samsung on dynamic mode, which made it look a little bit more like the LG. But just for 8K upscaling from the sources that we were watching, it was I forgot what demo it was. They were all running the same demo, but it was something on the water. I forgot it. Something with the water and boats. But it looked noticeably better on every TV except that 8K one. I don't know if the upscaling was just not working correctly or what was going on with it. It just wasn't as crisp as the C9, which was very surprising. And it was just kind of dim. It was dull looking. We didn't understand it. We were looking at it with one of the calibrators. We were looking at it. Elias was there. He was looking at it. Robert was looking at it. So yeah, just wasn't really impressed with it at all. Dive loop on fire. Should I be worried about burning? You know, I got a friend who's got he's a big gamer. He's got an LG. I think he's got an LG C7, and he's actually getting a replacement because he bought it from Best Buy. So he's getting a replacement on his C7 because he plays games all the time, and he's got burn-in on his TV. So I guess if you're a big gamer, then maybe don't get yourself an OLED. It seems like, you know, when I'm browsing through YouTube and just maybe I'm getting ideas to do reviews, like tech reviews. If it's not a 4K review, you know, I'll check out what other people are doing, and the consensus is either SVS or Klipsch. So it's like I always get the comments like, "Hey, how does this how do Klipsch sound?" or "How does SVS sound?" And man, don't get me wrong, man, those are some good speakers, but there's definitely much better speakers too for the same price. I would check out the Definitive Technology D series speakers. Those are some great speakers as well. Or like I said, check out the KEF speakers also. I mean, if you like nice detail, well, some great detail on your speakers, some great dynamics, I would check out the KEFs. That's what I would do. Some of those, because if you look at some of those Klipsch speakers, like some of the build quality of those entry-level ones, like they sell some good high-end ones, and they sell some entry-level ones. And if you ever like wrapped your knuckles on the cabinets, they're pretty hollow sounding. So I mean, check out your options. If you got $1,000, there's some good options out there. Abdullah Islam, hi Shane, always a fan of your reviews. I'm using Optoma HD50. I think it's pretty good, but is it really that much of a difference to the Sony? Because for the price, it's quite a gap. Here's the thing: when you're buying entry-level projectors that are like, you know, sub $1,000 or $2,000, sometimes $800, there's gaps. Do they put out good images? Yeah, they put out some decent images. They're typically DLP projectors. They're usually single wheel DLP projector, so you can get the rainbow effect if you're watching a movie with me, like a bright spot, and then if you dart your eyes left and right really quick, you can see the color wheel. You can see the rainbow. That's what's called the rainbow effect. I could see it when I had a DLP. I used to have an Optoma. God, I forgot what model number it was. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, rainbow effect was all over the place. I could see it. If you're used to it, you can kind of ignore it after a while. But black levels were never that good on it. Although I did like the sharpness of DLP. DLP is a good sharp projector, especially for 1080p content. You can get their upscaling ones now. The upscaling looks good on some of the projectors. It's not the same. I've had some of the high-end JVC E-shift projectors, which is the same thing as like a DLP can do. And it's just not quite the same as the actual native 4K projector. And that HD50 is only 1080p. And then if you're going to compare it to mine, which is native 4K, then there's a pretty big gap. Because what you're really paying for is you're paying for the optics, which is glass in these projectors. That's why something like yours, like an Optoma, is they're kind of small. They're like yay big, really about that high. And then you look at some of the higher end projectors, they're huge, like that big. They're about like that deep, about that thick. It's because there's a lot of you need a lot of airflow in there. The glass structure in there is huge. It's like that long. The glass is like that thick. So you're paying a lot of money for some good optics. Just like buying lenses on a camera. If you guys have ever bought lenses for a camera, which is ridiculously expensive, some lenses are like $10,000 just for like a little piece of glass. Like my stupid little lens is like $500. That's considered cheap too. So what you're paying for is crispy details when you're getting into the higher end stuff. Usually on lower end stuff, plastic lenses. Plastic lenses aren't quite as sharp as glass lenses. Obviously, 4K resolution plays a big role. You got processing, smooth motion, wide color. There's all kinds of stuff, just like buying a TV, except it's a projector and there's glass involved. So is there a difference between a DLP, like $1,000 projector, and a $10,000 one? It's a pretty big gap. Yeah, it's a big gap. It's just that when people buy $1,000 projectors or $2,000 projectors, it's hard for them to see the value in spending more money, because it's like one of those things where you want to justify your purchase because you spent X amount of dollars and you don't feel you need to spend more money to get better quality. And there comes a certain point when you're spending a lot of money and the benefits get smaller and smaller. And then there's other things like TV sets. Just like buying a TV, you can buy yourself a Sharp TV, or you can buy yourself an OLED TV. And then there's in between, you can get like a Samsung 8000. And there's a difference between getting a lower end TV to the mid level to the high end. It's visibly there. Just like it's visibly a difference between a $1,000 projector and a $4,000 projector. So I might have gone off a little bit there on your question, but yeah, there's a difference between an Optoma and a Sony 4K. Yeah, there's a big gap there. Can someone explain the hate on the Z9F? I got it a few weeks ago, and it's absolutely amazing. What gray blacks? This set is amazing. That's good, man. Maybe you got a good sample there. Every Z9F that I've seen has had some noticeable gray blacks. I don't know too many people that have bought it either. You're one of the few. But if you like it, I wouldn't go looking for problems. I would just continue enjoying it. Your number one 4K movie so far that ticks all the boxes. Great video and sound plus fun movie. Well, the big one obviously is going to be Aquaman. Best picture and sound I've seen so far. That movie's got like so much bass. It's got some killer bass. It was one of the movies where I was watching, I think it was Mortal Engines, which I was expecting an awesome soundtrack, but it just didn't do it, man. I was thinking my subwoofers were turned off, and then I watched Aquaman afterwards, and I was like, okay, yeah, my subwoofers are working. Aquaman's just got like a tremendous amount of bass. Charles Hermosilla, do you only watch 4K UHDs on your Sony projector, or do you watch 1080p Blu-rays and streaming? Man, you know what we did yesterday? I watch everything. I watch my 4Ks on the projector, and we had a movie night last night here where we watched one of the best comedies ever. We watched Tropic Thunder. That's only in 1080p. So we watched Tropic Thunder last night. And that's a good one. Obviously, it's not as good as 4K, but still. Yeah, man, I watch everything on here. I don't watch TV, though. It's very rare that I watch Netflix. If I watch Netflix, I usually do that on my TV. Robert Chase, you have a 240x1 screen, correct? Yes, I do. What happens with movies with switching aspect ratios like The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar? Well, if I'm watching a movie on the widescreen, I'll either put it, if I know it's got switching aspect ratios, I'll either put it in 16:9 mode, So I'll have black bars on the left and the right, and then I have black bars on the top and the bottom. So it's like I got black bars all around. So I'll just have like a little image in the center, and then when it blows up, then it fills in the entire 16:9 center section of the screen. If it's a movie that I'm just watching, I don't care about switching aspect ratios. I'll just crop in on it. So the 16:9 parts, the 21:9 parts will look fine with no black bars. And then when it switches to IMAX, then I won't even notice it because it'll just get cut off on the top and the bottom. But if I'm doing a review, then I'll watch it in its normal 16:9 aspect ratio. Otherwise, yeah, it just gets cut off. That's all. Remix audio. But remix audio mixes suck for older films on Blu-ray and 4K laser discs. Is more dynamic and bang for your buck. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of like older movies getting Dolby Atmos remixes because sometimes it just doesn't sound right. You know, you could tell they sound old and they're just kind of placing sounds in specific speakers. Sometimes they just sound a little hollow. They just don't have the same dynamics as a current mix does. You know, unless it's like a Star Wars movie where they absolutely totally redo the whole thing. But usually just older movies, yeah, they don't sound that good when you're taking like a stereo source and you're upmixing it to Atmos. Just doesn't sound quite right. So what are your thoughts on the Arendal speakers compared to your setup? Actually, the Arendal speakers are my setup right now, so I actually never heard of the brand until you reviewed them. Greetings from Norway, by the way. Come on, FB 1983. You're from Norway and you haven't heard of the Arendal speakers? What's going on over there? Do they have bad advertising in Norway or something like that? Because they are from Norway. I would think they'd be one of the main brands you'd be checking out. But they are. I had the M&K S150s for like a long time, and they were my go-tos, man. Like they were better than the Clipsers, I heard. Actually, you know, they're just like legendary speakers, like M&K 150s there, and they were used to make like Star Wars and King Kong, and professionals use them in their mixing studios. So they're like legendary speakers. They're neutral sounding speakers, very detailed, very rich. But you know, I saw the Arendals. They caught my eye, so I had to reach out to them. And they were nice enough to send them over. And then, man, they tick all the boxes, man. They sound amazing. One of the biggest sound stages I've heard, like ever, especially at this price point. I mean, it's not like they're cheap speakers or anything like that. They're actually kind of expensive. But build quality is better than I've seen on like some B&W speakers. And they're right up there, like you know, the Kef Reference. SVS Ultra, I mean, better built than that too. I know you guys are all about the SVS speakers, but they've got like a 2-inch thick front baffle. The enclosure is made out of 1-inch thick high density fiberboard. Usually speaker manufacturers use MDF, which is medium density fiberboard, so it's not quite as rigid. These are way more dense and solid and less resonance than the M&Ks that I have. And like I said, those are legendary speakers too. They're fantastic speakers. And these things are just they're like slabs, really heavy slabs. So thoroughly impressed with the build quality and bass response just from bookshelves, which if you unplug them, they sound like they could be like mini towers. They sound that good. So if you wanted to run them full range, you can run them full range and just hand off to your subs. Or if you just, you know, you don't have subs, they put out a potent amount of bass. And this is what, with every single one of their speakers in here, you can run these things full range, all 7 of them, or 11 of them. And they'll do your room some justice. So anybody that's interested in checking out the Arendals, definitely do it. You got a 2-month trial period. You know, I'm going to sound like a salesman right now, but you got 2 months to try them out. And shipping is like three to 4 days from Norway. Legit speakers. I have another. I know the guy's over there, Jan, there, the owner. I think he's been waiting for my Atmos review, which I have. I've got it in the books. It's coming. So I've got another video on the speakers coming, because I put I think the original video I did was only 5 speakers, so they sent me 4 more for the heights and then 2 more for the backs, which you can kind of see back there. You can see they're in my videos. There was in my videos. I always show them off in the video. But yeah, man, they're back there. If you're in Norway, you gotta go listen to them. I'm not sure what else is on your shopping list, but get these speakers right there. Best bang for your buck. Better sounding than the Klipsch and the SVS and the normal brand speakers you guys are always used to watching on YouTube. If you want to spend your money wisely, order these speakers from Norway. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Thanks guys for hanging out. Answer some of your questions. It's always a fun time. But maybe next time, just email the questions, and we'll do like a proper live stream next time. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll catch you again in the next live stream.